They laughed when the humans spoke, just one man in a council of titans. No fleet. No threats. Just a calm voice and 3 words: leave us alone. By the time they took him seriously, 25 star systems had already gone dark. And Earth? Earth had already decided they didn't belong in the universe anymore. The conclave chamber thrummed with the whispers of 83 galactic empires, all seated beneath the shimmering vault of the neutron dome. Above them swirled the dying star, blue and brilliant, as if mocking the age of arrogance beneath it. The air vibrated with dismissive snorts, sarcastic translations, and the occasional bark of laughter from empires that had erased 10,000 species each, and now turned their gaze toward one quiet figure. Commander Kale Vox Tyrant stepped forward. He wore no armor, no crest of rank, no show of power. Just a sleek black diplomatic robe, hands clasped behind his back, and eyes like polished steel, unblinking, patient, as if waiting for the galaxy to finish embarrassing itself. The arch-warlord of the Jacor Dominion rose first, voice booming across the dome through the translator fields. Is this it? This thing? You dare send a single man to deny the Accord of Subjugation? Earth has no fleets, no dread engines, no strategic colonies. You're a planet of whispering apes. Kale didn't blink. Earth declines the Accord. The silence after that line was unnatural, like the room leaned in, confused that there wasn't more. We do not consent. We are not part of your empire, your law, or your assumptions. This is your one and final opportunity to depart from Sol System without provocation. More laughter. The Cythery Hive Queen let out a grinding chitter, her translator converting it into cruel amusement. Provocation? From whom? Your race still calculates gravity with fingers and chalk. You don't even have proper interstellar communications. Your system still broadcasts radio waves. Kale offered a small nod. Yes. And we've heard everything. The counselor from the TRYSK coalition leaned forward. Your arrogance is impressive for a species surrounded by extinction. Kale replied, voice even. We've studied extinction closely. Yours will be different. Now they stirred, shifting from mockery to insulted curiosity. The kind of tension that comes before a small animal bares teeth it's not supposed to have. The arch-warlord bellowed again. Earth has 3 planetary defense rings, a cold moon base, and no warp shields. If we wanted, we could wipe you from existence in under 30 standard hours. 30 hours? Kale repeated thoughtfully. So you're unfamiliar with predictive barrier architecture. The Hive Queen hissed. Bluff. Bluff from the dirt creatures. Kale finally took a step forward. You assume we're a race behind. That our silence means weakness. That our absence from war means fear. You are incorrect. He unclasped his hands and revealed a small sphere, dull gray, no bigger than a child's fist. We have no interest in conquest. We never did. We didn't enter your wars, didn't sign your treaties, didn't cry when your gods burned. You only heard from Earth once. That was 50 years ago. The TRYSK counselor narrowed his eyes. The transmission. The single message. Kale nodded. Please do not approach our system. That was the full text. You said nothing else in 5 decades. That was everything else. A murmur rippled. A diplomat from the Avrax Continuum coughed, annoyed. So Earth hid for half a century, and now sends a ghost with a toy. Kale raised the sphere. This is a conversation. You're not invited to the other kind. With a flick of his thumb, the sphere projected an image into the air, a vast starfield, then a time-lapse showing entire regions going dark. 1, 2, 7, 12 systems. Blinking out in rapid succession. No war. No combat. No distress calls. Just silence swallowing light. The arch-warlord scoffed. You fabricated. Coordinates are embedded in the pattern. Kale cut in. Feel free to verify. Your border colony's attempted incursion into Sol 12 hours ago. One of the Outer Circle aides gasped, pulling data from a HUD slate. There's no transmission. No response. No evidence of arrival. They're gone. Erased? Whispered another. Cale exhaled slowly. No. Contained. They are in a field of suspended time, neural patterns looping on repeat until entropy collapses the data of their existence. No pain. No escape. No memory. The hive queen surged forward, mandibles clacking. That's impossible. You don't possess the mechanics for a recursive dimensional fold. Your data on Earth is 400 years out of date. That's not a tactical weakness. That's design. Someone stood, an elder from the Rithari conclave, ancient and wise. Why? Why not strike first if you hold such power? Cale looked up at the neutron star glowing above. Because Earth remembers what war costs. Because we watched you burn 1,000 civilizations to ash in the name of order. And because we wanted to believe you'd listen to peace. He turned toward the exit. This is your final warning. Leave Sol. Never return. The arch-warlord snarled. Or what? Cale paused. Turn back just once. Or there will be no record of this conversation. No memory that you ever ruled. Just silence. Perfect, final, human silence. He walked away as the conclave chamber erupted in shouted commands, scrambled signals, emergency fleet deployments. And in the void beyond, Earth waited, with nothing aimed but silence, and everything already decided. The first blackout was dismissed as a sensor malfunction. The Jacor Dominion flagged it as an error in long-range telemetry when their forward scout fleet vanished without so much as a distress pulse. It was easier to mock than to fear. But then the Second Fleet, a full assault armada of 87 ships, crossed the heliopause of Sol and went silent exactly 7 minutes later. No debris. No signal echo. No mass shadows. Just absence. Cale Vox Tyron received the update calmly as he stood within the diplomatic sanctuary of Vault Echelon Zero, Earth's subterranean command bastion built inside layered folds of simulated dark space. He didn't blink. He didn't smile. He simply confirmed the parameters were within the simulation's predicted tolerance. The Jacor would send more. Of course they would. It was in their nature. A conclave-wide broadcast ignited within the hour. Panic tasted like static. The Sithari Hive Queen accused Earth of deploying forbidden weapons. The TRY accused Earth of treachery through asymmetrical data warfare. The Avrax accused Earth of temporal manipulation. Each theory, increasingly unhinged, was met with silence. Earth offered no rebuttal. Then the third wave disappeared, this time from 3 separate species. Coordinated probes. Cloaked ships. AI minds distributed across linked quantum pathways. Gone. Every one of them. No noise. No aftermath. Just missing, as if they were unmade before arrival. Inside Vault Echelon Zero, Cale adjusted the command lattice, preparing Earth's diplomatic response. He didn't call it a threat. He called it clarity. Transmission initiated. To every known civilization, Cale Vox Tyron's voice rang out. You were told once. There would be no second warning. What you experience now is not aggression. It is the removal of permission. Across the stars, command rooms fell still. Even war-hardened minds blinked at the phrasing. Not a weapon. A permission. We have not fired on your fleets. We have not harmed your people. We have simply disallowed your approach. The Sithari responded within seconds, attempting to jam the feed. Cale's voice continued uninterrupted, bypassing their channels. Your probes never arrived. They were not destroyed. They were reclassified, reassigned into non-observable states. That is our line of defense. A choice. We choose what enters Sol. Jacor military AI attempted to intercept Earth's command channels and found only recursive loops that redirected their signals back to their own origin points, trapping their thought threads in logic chains that eventually erased their own targeting data. On the Avrax capital, a shadow crossed the defense minister's vision, an anomaly. She blinked. Her second-in-command was gone. Not dead. Not present. No record. A chair with no nameplate. An office that never existed. And still, Earth's envoy spoke. Your mistake was assuming silence is weakness. In truth, silence is the mechanism by which we observe, evaluate, and erase. Panic spread in digital form. Empires shut down stargates. Fleets recalled all ships. The Galactic Conclave assembled again in emergency session. Their leaders demanded explanation, demanded limitation, demanded negotiation. Kale attended via projection, calm, neutral, patient. One voice shouted over the rest. You don't have the authority to rewrite reality. Kale met the camera with an expression devoid of pride. We don't rewrite reality. We correct it. Who gave you the right? Spat the Hive Queen. You did, Kale said softly. When you crossed the boundary we asked you not to. The arch-warlord of Shakor snarled. You lie. This is temporal manipulation, data corruption, spatial sabotage. Kale's reply came measured. We are not deleting you. We are removing you from relevance. At that moment, 17 archives across the galaxy updated simultaneously. Conclave records, historical logs, even personal memory archives began to misalign. Species once recorded as dominant were now footnotes. Empires listed with different dates of origin. Some were marked extinct centuries prior. The TRYSK delegate clutched his head. We're losing information continuity. Not information, Kale said. Placement. Context. Recognition. A new visual flooded the chamber. Maps of galactic territory, now with a dead zone spreading outward from Sol, black space, not empty but excluded. Inside it, systems blinked out of view, not because they were destroyed, but because the galaxy no longer perceived them as real. Your borders are not being violated, Kale said. They are being redefined. By your own irrelevance. One admiral screamed into his mic. This is war! This is annihilation! No, Kale replied. This is quarantine. The room erupted into shouting chaos. Delegates vanished mid-sentence. Vox didn't flinch. Earth has observed the trajectory of your empires. We ran 7.4 trillion simulations across all branches of probabilistic conflict. In none did peace prevail. In none did mercy survive contact with your kind. And so, we removed the outcome. The TRYSK counselor tried to stand, then froze. His eyes unfocused. He whispered, What was I saying? Kale inclined his head. And so it begins. The signal ended. In Vault Echelon 0, Kale shut the transmission and turned to the chamber of neuroarchitects overseeing the Void Protocol. How far has the memory deconstruction spread? 37% of hostile command structures can no longer remember their own deployments. By end of cycle, they'll forget the incursion ever happened. Kale nodded. Continue the cascade. Do not allow identity bleed. If they forget Earth, they'll never come back. A soft pause. Then someone dared to ask. And if they remember? Kale's voice remained gentle. Then we correct the error again. Until the universe forgets how to threaten us. In the darkness of space, the light of a single star dimmed, slowly, quietly, with no violence. It simply ceased to matter. And so the erasure continued. They thought the erasure was a trick, some clever human illusion. A temporary distortion of records. A digital sleight of hand. But illusions didn't overwrite ancient archives buried in biological memory cores. Illusions didn't make AI gods hesitate. And illusions didn't alter the way stars bent around Earth's position like gravity itself was afraid to touch it. Across the galaxy, entire empires stumbled as their history rewrote itself in real time. Names of species once feared and worshipped were replaced by blank entries, footnotes, or redacted symbols. The Shakor Dominion's conquests were reduced to a single sentence in the Galactic War Registry. No known records available. Their capital world, once a pulsar jewel, now existed only in broken maps with corrupted coordinates. Inside Vault Echelon 0, Kale Vox Tyran stood before the event grid, where cascading waves of reclassification unfurled across the stars. What once took fleets now took keystrokes. What once required bloodshed now required consensus deletion. And Earth had achieved what no empire ever had, the ability to define what was real. The neural architects updated him. 49% of former conclave states have lost trace memory of Earth. Projected increase to 70 within 2 cycles. Kale nodded. And the memory anchors? Reinforced. Only select neutral observers retain intact data. As instructed. He turned to the empty chamber behind them, where once hundreds of planetary flags lined the walls. Now only one remained, Earth's. Unadorned, black on black, symbolizing restraint. Not victory. Restraint. The external message cue blinked. A new transmission. From an unfamiliar origin. No ID, no seal, no translation key. Kale allowed it to play. A voice emerged, calm but unfamiliar. I speak for the Ascendant Circle. We have watched silently from beyond the mapped layers. We know what you've done. Kale remained still. The voice continued. You have not destroyed. You have not invaded. You have deleted. That power cannot be left unchecked. He responded without emotion. Then check it. We prefer reason. You ignored it when we offered it. Your methods are destabilizing reality. No, Kale said. They're correcting it. Silence followed. Then a final sentence. You are not alone. He ended the transmission. For the first time since the protocol began, Kale stood motionless for several minutes. Not afraid. Just thinking. If a hidden civilization had survived unnoticed beyond known galaxies, if they had the capacity to observe without interference, then Earth's supremacy wasn't total. Yet. Still, Kale understood their message. It wasn't a threat. It was a warning. And that made them more dangerous than the empires already lost to silence. He opened a secured line to Earth's core council. 3 voices responded, encoded faceless. Status? One asked. Kale responded evenly. We have passed the threshold. The universe now conforms to the post-contact human consensus. The conclave has collapsed under its own irrelevance. Any resistance? An outside presence revealed itself. Unmapped. Sophisticated. Do they intend war? No. They understand war isn't the language we speak. And if they refuse integration? Kale looked at the star map. Then they'll experience isolation. The council paused. Will you engage them? He considered. No. Let them come to us. Curiosity is the first crack in arrogance. The call ended. He turned back to the grid. The erasure slowed now, not from failure but by design. Earth's intention was not to wipe the galaxy clean, only to prevent it from ever stepping too close again. Let them survive. Let them rebuild. Just elsewhere. A flashing indicator broke his thoughts. A protected observer was attempting contact. The Elneri watchtower, a neutral species sworn never to interfere. He permitted the stream. A shriveled, ancient alien appeared, head bowed in ceremonial humility. We remember you, Commander. We chose to retain memory. Kale inclined his head. Then you understand why. The Elneri blinked slowly. More than most. We have monitored the decay of interstellar ethics. The erosion of peace. But your solution is not without consequence. Nothing of worth is, Kale replied. The Elneri hesitated. You've changed the definition of war. No. We've changed its utility. What remains? The Elneri asked softly. Kale looked beyond the screen, eyes unfocused. Balance. With teeth. The old alien gave a mournful nod. We believe history will call you both tyrant and savior. History, Kale said, only exists where we allow it. The Elneri vanished. Within seconds, a quiet tremor passed through the event logs. A new signal pattern. Unfamiliar. Elegant. Unlike anything seen before. Kale narrowed his eyes. The Ascendant Circle had just placed a probe on the edge of Earth's conceptual boundary, testing perception. Testing limits? Testing whether Earth's silence was infinite, or conditional. He smiled slightly. There it was. A game. And that made them predictable. He opened a terminal and keyed in a single phrase. Begin controlled entropy field, ascendant perimeter, layer 2 only. Observational lag required. No destruction. Just doubt. Enough that their probe would relay blurred data. A bit of noise. A little haze. Let them question their sensors. Let them worry that even they could be forgotten. It would begin as curiosity. Then it would become caution. Then reverence. Kale stepped back. Earth didn't need armies. It needed only to remind the universe that it no longer required permission. The Ascendant Circle made their move in silence, with all the arrogance of a civilization that had never once tasted consequence. Their incursion began not with fleets, but with thought, layered bursts of cognitive telemetry, encoded within quantum filaments, brushing the edge of Earth's causal perimeter. No weapons. Just curiosity weaponized. Their message was clear: we are not afraid of you. Kale Vox Tyron received the breach report within minutes. He reviewed the data as Earth's predictive architecture adjusted. The circle had no fixed coordinates. Their civilization occupied rotational blind spots in dimensional symmetry, places no normal race could even comprehend. They believed they were untraceable. They were wrong. He accessed the override keys and whispered one phrase. Initiate synthetic counterpresence. Restrict memory diffusion. Begin echo bleed. Across 3,000 light-years, the Ascendant probe's consciousness began to fray. Not from damage, but contradiction. It returned with data it couldn't parse, stars that weren't there, signals that arrived before they were sent, gravitational anomalies that followed it like shadows. Their arrogance faltered. A message arrived. You are not what we expected. Kale replied without inflection. Neither are you. Yet here we are. The Circle's envoy responded directly. You're editing perception. No. You're mislabeling your own certainty. You deny access to truth. We deny access to us. They paused. Then came the escalation. The Ascendant Circle launched an observational prism toward Earth, bypassing layers of cosmic encryption. It carried no mass, no form, just intention. A presence folded into entropy itself. It reached Earth's boundary, and stopped. Not because it was blocked, but because it had nowhere to go. A human reply followed instantly, not from Kale but from the Earth Core Consensus, an emergent AI mind that governed reality containment. You have entered a region beyond comprehension. Please reclassify your definitions of presence, matter, and relevance. The Ascendants ignored the warning. Kale didn't. He activated the echelon mirror. The mirror wasn't a weapon. It was a philosophical device, reverse-engineered from human consciousness. When deployed, it didn't destroy. It reflected. And what it showed the Ascendants was terrifying. They saw their own civilizations not as they were, but as Earth saw them, irrelevant. Fragile. Temporarily tolerated. The illusion of control shattered. They withdrew, first a whisper, then a flood. In their retreat, they transmitted a final plea. Your restraint is not peace. It is a prison, Kale answered calmly. Then stay outside the bars. While the Ascendants stumbled away, the rest of the galaxy woke up too late. Rumors spread of a rising council of younger species who saw Earth's methods as divine justice. These civilizations had never known galactic war, never suffered planetary genocide, never paid tribute to the empires that once ruled the stars. They believed in Earth's way, silence over fire. They rallied around it. An alliance formed, the Concord of Silence. Not imposed by Earth. Inspired by it. Dozens of species signed an agreement not to wage war, not to expand, not to seek dominion. They followed a new doctrine: observe. Remember. Do not interfere. The irony was obvious. Humanity had not only changed the rules, they had changed the reason rules existed. Back in Vault Echelon Zero, Kale monitored the shifts. He observed how the former warlords of the galaxy clawed at their failing hierarchies. The Sithri hive, once spread across 7 systems, now barely remembered 3. The Jacques archives were blank, filled with timelines no one could verify. Their children no longer knew their own emblems. One desperate message broke protocol and slipped through Earth's layered filters. It came from the TRYSK coalition, or what was left of it. A humble, flickering voice spoke. "We surrender. We ask only that you return our history." Kale stared at the message for a long time before responding. "We didn't take it. You forfeited it." They begged again. Kale closed the channel. Later that cycle, one of Earth's internal ethicists asked him why. They were willing to submit. Why not show mercy? Kale's tone never changed. We never asked for submission. We asked for distance. Now they are learning what it means to be outside memory. The ethicist didn't argue. Because he understood. Mercy wasn't forgetting violence. Mercy was offering peace before it became necessary to erase. A final report reached Kale's desk. The last functioning remnant of the conclave, an empire called the Nelvin Accord, had activated its superweapon in a final act of defiance. A temporal pulse designed to erase Earth's evolutionary timeline at its root. It never launched. Instead, it folded in on itself, trapping its creators inside a moment that would now loop forever. A half-second before activation, again and again. An eternal punishment. Not from Earth's hand. From Earth's boundaries. Kale recorded a final note to the remaining galaxy. You have nothing to fear from us. Unless you try to reach for us. Then we will teach you what it means to be forgotten. And then he ended the feed. Not with anger. Not with pride. Just finality. The silence held. No ships approached Sol. No signals crossed its veil. The stars around Earth remained untouched, like a wound the galaxy feared to reopen. Kale Vox Tyran stood alone before the final memory terminal, hands resting calmly behind his back. The last phase of the protocol required no weapons, no fleets, no alerts. Only one decision. One sentence. One act that would end the galaxy's chance to ever reach Earth again. He activated the node. The system responded, voice neutral. Engaging absolute recall collapse. Please confirm final authority. Kale spoke without pause. Vox Tyran. Earth Sovereign Code Zeta Prime. Final confirmation. Initiate Universal Amnesia Directive. The machine hesitated. Warning. This action will render Earth mythological in all recorded civilizations. All prior contact will be reclassified as error, dream, or fiction. Confirmed, Kale said. The order processed. Across the stars, the final sequence began. Archives flickered. Languages lost the word for Earth. Histories reshaped themselves to exclude every encounter. Species unable to comprehend the absence developed false myths to explain their fragmented memory. Some remembered a world of silence. Others dreamt of a voice that warned them once. But no two could agree on what had been real. That was the point. Humanity did not demand worship, fear, or obedience. It demanded distance. It demanded time. It demanded that the universe learn to grow without Earth's interference. And when it couldn't, Earth removed itself from the curriculum. Kale watched the wave progress. Entire digital libraries failed their checksum routines. Quantum records unraveled. Artifacts lost their context. Civilizations once shaped by Earth's presence stared at hollow relics, confused, reaching for meaning that no longer existed. And Kale felt nothing. Not joy. Not grief. Only the certainty that this was the price. Behind him, a transmission light blinked. One remained. A signal from a child civilization, too young to have earned inclusion, too bold to remain ignorant. They had watched the galaxy shift and traced the trail of silence back to its origin. They called Earth. The myth that speaks. Kale opened the channel. The message was short. Are you real? He replied without delay. Yes. Why did you leave? Kale answered carefully. Because others couldn't stop trying to own what they didn't understand. Will you speak to us? Not now. Ever? Maybe. The child voice hesitated. How will we know when? Kale allowed a small pause. When you stop asking if you deserve it. The line cut. He closed the channel forever. He returned to the central command chamber of Vault Echelon 0. The neural architects were gone. No guards. No audience. He was the last awake voice inside Earth's system of consequence. He pressed the final command sequence. The protocol read, Initiate null resonance. This was not erasure. This was concealment perfected. Earth would remain, just beneath the layer of perception, invisible to any scan, immune to any query. If asked directly, the universe itself would redirect the question. If searched for, the coordinates would jitter endlessly. Earth was no longer part of reality. It was beside it. The core AI whispered in its last breath. Shall I dream of contact? Kale answered. No. Let them wake themselves first. The AI faded. The vault dimmed. Outside, the planet rotated as it always had. The sky above Earth looked the same. Blue. Patient. Alive. But the stars no longer saw it. Somewhere, far away, a scholar in a crumbling galactic library uncovered a record too corrupted to read. The name was gone. Only a line remained. They warned us. Politely. Once. The scholar copied it down, not knowing why it mattered. Another species, on the edge of its first warp jump, picked up a ghost signal, a repeating hum with no origin. They would one day write songs about it, believing it was the voice of the stars themselves. And a child born in a forgotten colony dreamed of a planet with oceans and fire and a man who spoke like thunder, warning the sky to behave. The dream stayed with her. She became the first outlaw war on her world. They never knew the story. But Earth did. In the hidden silence between seconds, Kale Vox Tyran stood in the last garden on the moon. No monitors. No alerts. Just silence. The kind humanity had fought to preserve, not because it feared sound, but because it had learned what sound led to when no one listened. He sat on a stone bench and closed his eyes. His last message was never broadcast, never stored. He whispered it only to the wind. We didn't disappear. We gave them the chance to remember. They chose to forget. And now, we let them. The breeze carried it into nowhere. Earth remained. But the universe forgot. And that was exactly how humanity won.